Good afternoon, students. Our time has been started. I was waiting for more students to just switch on the webinar. I think so. We're just going to start now. They are going to join in later on. Welcome to the third webinar session of IELTS module. Today, we are going to focus on the writing module, how the understanding and describing the general and the specific information. I am Saira Asad, linguistic expert. I'm going to give you the guidelines and we are going to touch the strategies and the skills which are required for this module. So, what we are going to learn from this session, we are going to learn the pattern of the IELTS writing section, the required skills, and the strategies which are going to be applied for attempting the questions. And what is going to be the pattern of the writing section that you are going to, you should be knowing all that, because when you're going to have a clear idea what you are going to do over there, you are going to manage your time very well. So the writing section is basically based on two tasks, two questions, you can say that. The task number one, it's going to be the description of any visual information which you are going to be within the 150 at least of 150 word limit. It can be a little bit the word limit can be increased a little bit, but it should not be less than 150. And I'm going to give you the guidelines. You're not going to count each and every word, are you touching 150 word limit or no, but you're going to just going to have an idea, how much you're going to write that's going to make at least 150, 160, and so on. That the minimum requirement for attempting this task. Okay. The first task is going to be in the form of a pie chart. The question is going to be here. The description is going to be there. The bar chart, line graph, multiple sort of charts, maps, diagrams, tables, etc. That can be in the form of visual, and you are going to describe it. Then the task two, the second question, is going to be about the essay, and that the word limit is going to touch 250 words on any that are going to be on any contemporary issue. We are touching both academic and the general training modules also. So side by side, I'm going to give you the details what you're going to have in the academic and what you're going to have in the technical side questions. So if the essay is going to be there in the academic side, that's going to be related with academic, as you were doing in the reading and the listening side. That's going to be something academically generated question, maybe from the history, maybe from some art, geography, something like that. And from technical side, there maybe is something, the object is over there, and you're going to describe that thing, the technically the person is going to be there, and you're going to as because it is going to be dependent on your base. If you're attending the technical side, that good question is going to be on the sort of a technical based on the technical things, objects. Then few tips for attempting this section, the task achievement, what you're going to do. You're going to have two questions, and you are going to have a limited time as well. I'm going to tell you for the task one and task two, but when you are going to have it, you should be very well planned, and you should have a basic plan in your mind how you're going to tackle these all questions within the time limit. Task one, overview. You're going to have an overview of the question, main points of the data, key features, minimum 150 limit. This is going to be the focus, or you should be, immediately when you're going to see the question, you're just going to make a plan, how you're going to manage this all, how you're going to attempt it. Then for the task two, again, overview. you should have an overview. Just understand the question, and you're going to address the main points of it. Then you're going to when you're going to there's a picture or visual in front of you. You have to describe it what you're going to describe, few lines of that. Then second step, you're going to address the question, what they are asking you to do. So you're going to write about that. The third point is you're going to give with examples and with opinions, why you have written this and what's your opinion. Then you're going to stick with the point, and at the end you're going to give the conclusion what you have done this, you have written all above. You're going to give a conclusion within few lines. So this is the way how you're going to write an essay, or write going to write about a topic. And again, the word at least the word limit is going to be to 50 words. Okay, academic and journal training question types. I'm just going to focus on those now. Task one. Yes, it's going to be from the visuals explanation. You may be asked to write a report for a university lecturer, in which you have to describe the information which is visually presented in a form of a pie chart, or tables, or a bar chart, or you may be asked to write about something, a process or an object. You're going to describe something, yeah, further I'm going to give you the visual presentation also, what sort of the diagram, the visuals are going to be there, how you're going to describe this all. There's the sort of an academic question. Then in journal training, the task one question is going to be you are going to write a letter, and it is basically based on the situation. You know, for example, you're going to write a letter to the other, the person. You're going to describe the situation. You're going to work abroad, and something like that. How you're going to write a letter. In that, if the question is going to be like this, they are asking you to write a letter and describing you are going to work abroad, and what the more options are going to be there, what you're going to face over there, and how you're managing this all, and how you apply for the job application, etc. These sort of things is comes into the journal training question. So letter is going to be a part of a journal training section. So the task two essays, both that deals with both academic and the journal training. Definitely the topics are going to be a little bit different. Academic is going to be to the academic side. Technical sort of question is for the technical side, but the strategy and the tips and the skills are going to be the same that you are going to apply for this question. The task two, the question is going to be in the form of agree or disagree. There's going to be a statement in which they want you to write in the favor or against about the topic, at what level you are agree with this, or discussion with the opinions. The question can come with with the opinions, and they want you to write about your opinion, about the topic what they are asking you to do. Another question can be like this: describe any solution and the causes, of anything, any problem, is there, and they're going to tell you, they're going to ask you about to write about this problem, and what is the solution you want to give for the improvement. Then the question can be about anything about the advantages and disadvantages of something, of any object, or anything like the working on the children usage of internet. Okay, this can be the one topic, and what are the advantages of it, and what are the disadvantages of it. You have to give your opinions in the essay type, your discussion with the examples, with opinions, and the conclusion at the end, what is you have taken out from all the discussion. Other types of questions can be in the form of you are going to describe some sort of building, or you're going to give some suggestions about the protecting, how you're going to protect this building. You're going to give a sort of suggestions and opinions, about that. This is sort of the maybe going to be a sort of a conversation between two people also. I'm giving you the examples what sort of questions can come in the examination. The questions are going to be very well explained with the examples also. You are just going to write it down, but you are going to be to the point. You're going to describe to the point, and within that limit, at least you have to touch that limit for both tasks, which I've already told you. 150 for at least 150 word limit for task 1, and 250 word limit for task 2. Then how your writer is going to be assessed. They are going to be assessed from the lexical resources, cohesion and coherence, grammatical accuracy, and task achievement. All are the four categories, and 25% each. They are going to assess you from that. Have you tackled the question well from all these angles? So you have to practice it before going for your exam. You have to increase your vocabulary. You have to use good words. You have to use the connectors. These are all the things how you're going to improve your writing, and how you're going to get your good band. This is the thing. So assessment scores. How you are going to get the acceptable scores minimum. 6, 7 are acceptable, 8 exceptional, 9 exceptional, 9 is the highest band. In band 6, they are going to give you from the lexical resource. LR means lexical resource. These refers to use of a vocabulary. Are you using appropriate academic vocabulary for that specific questions? They are going to be assessed from that side. From the grammatical side also, you're going to be assessed. In that, they're going to assess you have done a little bit. If you're getting 6, it means that you have done a little bit mistakes, but the flow of the communication is there, but you are doing a little bit mistakes in the grammar also. And in the lexical resource, you have used less vocabulary. When for band 7, the lexical resource means that occasionally you are doing few mistakes in spelling and the choices of the word, and the word formation. But in the grammatical side, there are few errors. It means that you are doing few errors in it. That's why you have got this mark. Those who are having no mistakes, they are going to have 8, and 8.5, and these are exceptional, very good. So these are very acceptable for the universities, for the work, work visas, where 6.5, 7, 7.5, they are considered good, acceptable. Grade 7 and above are very, very good. So you should always try to grab the best thing and always look for the best. Then strategies. Now the questions are there, how you are going to make the strategies for attempting that, because you have only 60 minutes for both tasks, for all academic as well as technical side, journal training side. The 60 minutes are given for completing both sides. Task 1, 20 minutes. Okay. And task 2, 40 minutes. For essay, 40 minutes. For first, 20 minutes. So keep this in mind. And time management is the most crucial thing, and you have to follow that. Then proper planning before attempting tasks, that will be you will be able to get good band. You will be able to touch your your target, what you have planned, and you will be able to do it in time. You have to, before going for that, you have how you're going to do improve your this thing, your time management and everything. You must practice fill gap exercises. and you have to read a lot from the newspapers, from different reading materials, magazines, books. In this way, you can increase your vocabulary. The question can come from any on any topic, but when you have a good reading vocabulary with you, you can use those things over there. That's going to improve your band. Skills for task 1 and 2, academic. You have to understand. In skill 1, there will be chart, visual, in the form of bar, pie chart, tables. You have to understand first what they are asking. Don't spend that much time, but just get an idea. You're going to explain that. You have to focus for the journal and the specific information, and how you're going to compare and contrast the information. uh, because all the things which are in front of you, you're going to write it down, because the writing section, they're going to assess you from the writing point of view. Then skill task from the journal training side. This tip is for both questions. The first question is going to be about the letter in GT, and you have to plan a letter. How you're going to do? Step by step. I'm coming to that point also. First of all, what you're going to write when you're going to read the question, the planning is there. Appropriate language. It is a formal letter or informal letter. And you can, at this level of life, you can pick up the general examples. What is a formal language? What is an informal? Informal is a relaxed sort of language when you're, addressing somebody, dear Mr. Sam. Hello, friend. You can say that it is informal. You have to differentiate between that. How you're going to organize your letter, how you're going to write in the first paragraph, in the second, and how many paragraphs you have planned to write. You are going to make all this strategy immediately. But when you're going to have a clear idea how you're going to attempt the question, then you will not be having any difficulty in planning any sort of question. So these all IELTS workshops are giving you the platform of understanding each and everything in detail, and definitely the practice makes a man perfect. Your practice, your skills and your strategies are going to be there, and inshallah you are going to have a very good band. Then I would like you to have a look of these few examples of visuals of task 1 that can come from the academic point of view. Multiple charts, tables that can be in this form. Then they can be the line graphs, the pie charts. The questions are going to be there. I would like you to have a look, what sort of the visuals are going to be there, how you're going to describe. You just have a look, all the details are there. You're going to look at the charts, and you're going to understand what they are talking about, and then you're going to write it about them. There's a comparison between I can see that the charts are always there because they're comparing the two three things. You have to describe that all. They can be in the form of maps and plans, or any sort of diagram is going to be there. You're going to describe it, and how good you are at this. That's going to be dependent on you, but you are going to improve with the understanding by working hard on this. Step by step you're going to learn, inshallah, how you're going to improve this all. Okay, task 1. Basically, this question is having 33% of your total writing section. The marks depend on this 33%. Both questions are very, very important in both sections, and 33% weightage goes to task 1. So the visual is there. Just have a glance, understand it. Then you're going to have an idea what sort of question they are asking. This is describing the views of people on the health issue without the healthy Great Lakes in the different cities of USA. in the form of agree or disagree responses. So you're just having an idea. I'm just giving you idea and examples to get yourself familiar with these all sort of things. Now there may be a question, how you're going to describe this all, describe this visual. Are you agree if there's a question? The Indiana people have the highest, percentage. They are very much agree that with the statement. How you're going to compare with the Ohio and other, other cities. You're going to describe this all. Then, how your exam strategy for this? Recommended to spend 2 minutes on understanding this sort of visual. Then explain in the opening sentence, the very first sentence. Now there's a time to write it up. First, understand it, at least 2 minutes, not more than that, 2 or 3 minutes. You will be able to understand that all. Then the first paragraph is the opening sentence. Explain what you're going to explain, what the chart is saying. Then identify 2 or 3 features of that visual. What is exact things are explaining in that. Look for interesting, contrasting, or surprising information. Look for that. What is striking you the best in that? What is clicking you? What is the exact information they are giving you? Then afterward you're going to start describing that all the information. Then get into the details. Always remember to go through again your work at the end of the question. So always leave some time for reading that question. You have only 20 minutes for attempting that question. So you have to make a plan quickly, understand it, write it down, how many paragraphs you're going to write, and afterwards 5 to 6 minutes you should have at the end to just overview that question again. If there's you need to add something, or there's a mistake in the grammar or and punctuation, you should correct it at that time. Okay, now there is a question in front of you of task 1 academic. I will read it out in detail, then you will be able to understand. The pie graph below show the result of a survey of children's activities. The first graph shows the cultural and the leisure activities that boys participate in, whereas the second graph shows the activities in which the girls participate. Okay, we got an idea. Okay, and they have given you the word limit also 150 at least word limit. Never start counting each and every word there, because if you're going to you don't have a computer, no worries. You're not going to count each and every word. There should be counted 1, 2, 3, 4. No. You are going to have an just practice makes a man perfect, as I said earlier. You are going to I will tell you how you're going to write it, how many lines should be in one, a paragraph that is going to touch at least this word limit. This is all you're going to perceive. You can go to 160, 170, 180, at least 150 is required for attempting this question. So you have to think about it. How to answer this task? Now visuals are there, you're just understanding this all. Okay. First, in the first paragraph, I'm thinking I'm just going to distribute into 4 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I'm going to introduce and summarize this, what the visual is telling us. In the second, journal overview, main trends, what is happening, what the boys and the girls activities they are opting. Okay. Then describe the first chart. Come to the first chart in detail, getting into the detail. Okay. Then describe the second chart. What the people, the girls are, the girls have opted the activities. Then at the end, you are going to describe a little bit conclusion, then compare both of the things, the boys, what the boys are, taking and what the girls are taking, You're going to compare within 2-3 sentences. So it's going to make 150 words easily. So there's a model answer also here. So I'm going to read it out. Then there is the exact, because it's a computer, calculations, 244 words. You just can have an idea. There are 4 paragraphs, 6 to 7 lines. Are quite enough for one paragraph, in which 4 or 5 lines for the first paragraph, 6 to 7. That's going to be enough for each paragraph. That's going to make your a good writer within the word limit. So how you're going to now answer, just see. The two pie charts draw the conclusion of a survey of boys and girls' cultural and leisure activities. You have described it in 2 lines what the chart, the visual is, describing. Come on the second. Overall, equal quantities of both sexes enjoyed listening to music, but the dramatically larger number of girls liked reading. This is a comparison. Now, comparison, there were also many differences in terms of children's preferred sports. What boys were taking, what the girls are. Now you're comparing a little bit. Now, in the third paragraph, turning to the first chart, because they have given you two. Now describe the first one in detail. Turning to the first chart, we can observe that boys prefer playing computer games. There was a percentage mentioned also, so mentioned it here. Then taking other activities. Playing basketball comes as the second most popular layer, practiced by almost a third of male children. Basketball is followed by soccer, which is exercised 17%. Skateboarding and listening to music are less preferable activities, chosen by 11% and 10% of boys respectively. Reading, the least popular cultural activity among boys, represents only 2%. Okay, you have described each activity and how much that's over there in the visual. Now one chart, we have described with examples with the details. Now come on the second visual. Taking a closer look at the second chart, you're describing, use vocabulary, creativity should be there. Taking a closer look at the second chart, we can see that girls' most preferred activity is dancing, being 27% of the total. In contrast to the boys' preferences, reading is chosen by more than a fifth of all girls. Although percentage of female children who play computer games is roughly twice less than that of boys. Mention the percentage also. The figures, facts, that's weightage. Always have a weightage in the writer. This activity is third most popular on girls' chart, with a slight difference between computer games and netball. The latter is practiced at 15% rate. Similarly to skateboarding, popularity among boys, 11% of girls going for gymnastic. Listening to music comes as the least popular layer, with a proportion of 10%, equal to those on the first chart. You have described everything and you have compared everything. So it was a lengthy, but it is very important to get into the details of everything for understanding. By reading this all and understanding this all write-up, you must get an idea how you are going to describe your thing. In the first paragraph, 4 paragraphs, more than enough for both tasks. In the first, you are just going to summarize about what is the visual is about. The second, if the picture, describe it. If one picture visual is there in front of you, you're going to describe what this is giving you all the information. Get into the details. Get into the examples also. Give your opinions also. And then you can compare with the other things generally. It's all your creativity there. And the third, at the end, what you are the conclusions you are taking out. Always focus the question. If they want you to write and compare with the other things, you have to talk about that thing with which you are comparing. You have to go with that. So I must show you must have followed all this the tips, and you have to develop these skills. Then you will be able to tackle your question very well. The task 2, this is essay. You're going to have 40 minutes for this. It is always a discursive essay. It's going to be, the first is going to be visual information. You're going to write within 20 minutes, and the second is going to be a discursive essay always, but 40 minutes for this. Overall, 60 minutes. You're going to be given your point of view and argument of problem and ask for your opinion. Mostly it is, as I told you, mostly it's going to be agree or disagree form. You're going to give your arguments, reasons, at the end give your opinion, conclusion, advantages, disadvantages, for or against, approach. Always keep this in mind. If for and against approach, when you think so, yes, we have to get the usage of internet, the advantages and disadvantages. They are, the advantages are there, disadvantages, so mention that all at the end with examples. And you don't need to go into the many examples. You know, 1 2 examples more than enough, 2 3 sentences more than enough for that, because they are going to look into your basically your grammar and the vocabulary and your description and how you're connecting the sentences. These are going to be your focus points. So 250 words at least, and you're going to be assessed on your contents, coherence, cohesion, ideas, accuracy, your grammar. You have to follow that. Whatever you're going to write, you have to be very much sure you're writing it correctly, you know and you're using a good vocabulary. How you're going to improve your vocabulary, as I always impose my students, keep reading different things, books, novels, magazines. You're going to pick up different a good vocabulary. You can use it in your essays, and that's going to highlight your writing. Now, strategies, for tackling your essay, because essay type is a task two of both academic and the general training. So always look for two sides of the argument. List the arguments before attempting the answer writing immediately. You know how to, going to work out for this. You're very much now clear. I'm very much sure now. So always look for the two sides of arguments, for and against. Approach the question, summarize the arguments against question, and state your opinion. Then summarize the argument in favor or against. Then how you're going to organize your essay. 4 paragraphs, as I told you. Your viewpoint, now introduce, first main part of the body, the second main part of the body, and conclusion. Simple. And that's going to make your, you're going to touch 250 words at least, maybe 60 to 70, but at least that's going to. But every paragraph is going to have 6 to 7 lines, or, 4 paragraphs, more than enough. You're going to, going to fulfill all the requirements of the word limit. Identify the keywords and decide your against or favor viewpoints. They're going to what you are writing, what your points, are you favor of it, why you are in the favor of this statement, or against, why you are. Give 1 example, 1 or 2 examples, more than enough. Connect and support your argument using language structures. Okay, the connectives are very, very much important. If you're discussing, you talk with the others, you bring a different creativity in your communication also, to impress people. When you give presentations, you use good words, you present yourself. So in writing also, your writing is going to impress others. So use the connectors, the flow of the communication. Now, how you're going to do that? By, however, consequently, these are the words you can, such as, you're giving your opinions and you're giving the suggestions, examples. So by using these words, your argument is going to will go into the flow. At the end, always leave some time to overview your writer for highlighting any sort of mistakes, if there are any. Okay, the task to academic, I would like you to get into the detail. We are going to practically now going to solve it. The question is here, nowadays many people have access to computers on a wide basis, and a large number of children play computer games. What are the positive and the negative impacts of playing computer games, and what can be done to minimize the bad effects? We understand. Okay, the question, computer games. Always see the topic, narrow down to a particular aspect of the topic. Okay, we have read the question. We have taken out 3 points, what the question is asking for us to do. What are the positive impacts of computer games on children? What are the negative impacts of computer games on children? How can the negative impacts be minimized? Positive are positive. They're not bad. The negative impacts are bad. So we are going to give suggestion and opinion how we can minimize this. So this is the point to be discussed for this question. So we don't have that much time. We already know how we are going to tackle this problem. 4 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. This is up to you, and we are going to have a model answer for this. Now I'm just going to read it out. You're going to get to know how this answer is being tackled. Access to computers has increased significantly over recent decades, and the number of children playing games on computers has increased too. This essay will consider the positive and negative impacts of this and discuss ways to avoid the potential negative effects. Overview, I have given the overview, describe it. Now, with regards to the positive effects, now what I'm going to do, I have just decided positive, then negative effects. Positive, then the conclusion, the opinion, for the negative impacts. Now, in the second paragraph, with regards to the positive effects, playing computer games can develop children's cognitive skills. Many popular games require abstract and high-level thinking skills in order to win. Skills they may not be taught at school. For example, children need to follow instructions, solve complex problems, and use logic in many of the games that are currently popular. Such experience will be beneficial to a child's progression into an adult. One example, enough, I have described it. However, concerns have been raised about our prolific use of computer games by children. Much of this related to the violence they contain. Negative, I'm talking about the negative effects. The problem is that in many of the games, children are rewarded for being more violent, and this violence is repeated again and again. For instance, many games involve children helping their character to kill, kick, stab, and shoot. This may lead to increased aggressive feelings, thoughts, and behavior. Now I've talked about this all. Now I'm coming into the, giving the solutions. In order to minimize these negative impacts, parents need to take certain steps. Firstly, some video games are rated according to their content. So parents must check this and ensure their children are not allowed to have access to games that are unsuitable. Parents can also set limits on the length of time games are played. Finally, parents should also take an active interest in the games their children are playing so they can find out how they feel about what they are observing. I've given the example with my suggestion, with my opinion. Now, conclusion. To sum up, there are benefits of computer games, but there are disadvantages too. However, if parents take adequate precautions, the severity of these negative impacts can be avoided. Simple 2 sentences I've described and closed the discussion. This is the way how you are going to organize your essay. Okay. Now, journal training task, how you're going to write a letter. Now we are going to focus on the journal training task. We have done with the academic side. Now, journal training question, you're going to write a letter, and you are a current student of Lorraine Bresco University and University studying business administration. You want to apply for the post of quality assurance manager. You have recently seen on the university notice board. Okay. Write a letter, question is there, give your reasons for writing, tell about your education, describe your work experience, explain why you would be suitable for the job. Okay, again, 150 limit. The pattern is all the same, but the question is different for the academic, in journal training. Okay, 3 things we are going to write. Introduce yourself and state the reasons for writing. Okay, the letter is going to be dealt in this way. Write the body of body paragraphs. Now 1 or 2 paragraphs, describe everything you have written and what's the reason. Write a polite letter closing at the end, how you're going to end your letter. Letter should not be very lengthy. It's just always a 1 page letter. So this is the way how you're going to tackle this. Model answer, I'm just going to read it out. Dear Mr. Walker, I'm writing to apply for the post of Quality Insurance Manager, which was advertised on the Students' Affairs Office notice board on 2nd May 2020. I believe that my qualifications, personal character, and work experience make me perfect candidate for this job. You have introduced yourself, while you're writing, where you have seen the ad. Currently, now in the second paragraph, you're going to introduce more about yourself. Currently, I'm studying on an MBA program at the Laureate Bresco University. You have to write yours, graduating in December 2020. I'm studying subjects that are relevant to the offered post. Moreover, I constantly perfect my management skills by taking these additional courses. During my studies, I have held the post of a junior executive. You describe about yourself, what experiences you have, write about good things about you. Tell them, impress them. You have this skill for this job. That's why you're applying for the advertised job. Okay, I've held the post of junior executive at the Hansel's corporations and improved my leadership skills, communication, competencies, and ability to work in a team. While leading and supervising subordinates, I gained a valuable experience for the post of quality assurance manager. Okay, you describe it in few lines, not more than 4 to 5 lines in each paragraph. Then you're coming to the conclusion, I'm available for the interview at any time. You can contact me most easily by the mobile phone number given above. Thank you for your consideration of my application. I look forward to meeting you in the nearest future. Yours sincerely, your name is going to be there. Formal letter for against this. This is the way how you're going to distribute your paragraphs and your information, what you should write in the first paragraph, the second, the third, and the last, the closing down. Then informal letter is also going to be there. The same pattern is going to be followed. For example, you are an alumni of a Bluegill University registered as a volunteer program to conduct informal interviews with prospective students. Okay, you're going to formal. We have got exposure. I have just read it for you. Now, introduce yourself. First, like the semi-informal style. You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to give a body to your letter. You're going to describe why you're doing it. What the reasons of writing a letter to you. Write about yourself. What skills you have, and if whatever the question is, you have to go into the details of it. If you have to cancel the meeting. You have to inform that I'm unavailable for the meeting. Give the reasons why you're unavailable, but always be on the welcoming side. And but after that, I'm available on these days. Kindly ensure any of these days I will definitely get back to you, but apologize also because you haven't made it up on the specific date. Then at the end, polite letter closing. Model answer is there. Hello, Alice. You can't say it in the formal letter for your applying for the job. Hello, Mr. So and so. No, hello is a word which is informal. Hello, Alice. My name is Jessica Helly, and I'm a volunteer conducting. You're just introducing in formal way, just like the email you're writing the letter to somebody. And I'm a volunteer conducting alumni interview for the University of Bluegill admissions office. You have been registered in the university system, and I'm writing to set an interview with you. The alumni interview is a relaxed, informal conversation where you can tell me something about yourself. I can answer any questions you have about our university. The interview is optional. If you wish to cancel it, just let me know. Just talking as you're talking about your with your friend. And you're just telling about that, and you're canceling that interview. Ideally, we should talk something in the next 2 weeks. I'm usually free during the weekends. Would Saturday, January 10, 8 p.m. Get the options always. This seems like that you're very much interested. Really, you're stuck somewhere. This gives a very welcoming impression to the other. If not, we can also chat the weekend after January 17 or 18. It could also have to be a remote interview. Can you Skype? I can also call your phone if that's more convenient for you. Looking forward to hearing from you, and thank you for your interest in Bluegill University. Best wishes, and so. Very welcoming, and but it's a very informal sort of communication. So you have to follow this style, but the body, what the 3-4 paragraphs are going to be enough in explaining. Now, general training essay. Okay, there's one question in front of you, 40 minutes as initial from the start. I'm telling you how you're going to write the essay, the same format which was used for the academic essay task 2, the same. But the topics are going to be a little bit different. They have asked us to, since the 18th century, technological advances have replaced people in the workplace. With today's technology, this process is happening at a greater rate. Technology is increasingly responsible for unemployment. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the statement? Okay, they have given you the statement, and you have to write the favor or the against. The model answer is there. See, the four paragraphs are there. You're going to introduce that, then you're in the favor or against. You're going to give the examples at the end. The conclusion there. So there is a technical sort of question. Technological advances always have an impact on people at work. Sometimes it can mean that people are no longer necessary in their job, but sometimes they make people work easier. We can define technology as scientific knowledge used for practical purpose in industry and commerce. I would also like to make a further distinction between this and high technology, which is electronic or information technology. In my view, technology really began to have an effect on industry in the early of the 20th century. The results of this was that certain industries like the car industry did not really need as many people as automatic machines and robots were able to do jobs such as painting the car or putting the car together. However, we now turn to look at the effect of high technology on the workplace. In my opinion, there has been a different effect. It is true that computers are able to do some things that people used to do. Advanced in high technology have made people's life better through improvement in communication. Give the example, where we have an email, MSN, and some electronic tool to chat with friends or business partners. In addition, people working in service industries like banking use computers much more than pen and paper nowadays. In addition, many work can be done from home, which means that people can do not need spend time traveling and can work wherever they want to. In conclusion, you have described this in the favor and the against, then now you're at the end you're giving the conclusion. Technology has resulted in unemployment in some traditional industries like car industry. On the other hand, in other industries such as service industry, technology has improved the way the work. You have got the idea how you're going to do that. If I was not reading that all, you will never be able to get the exact idea how to write in each paragraph. Now the grammar and vocabulary of the task one, how you're going to focus, and then which the grammatical points you should be kept in mind. The tenses, past and the future tenses, you have to maintain that. The tense, which you are going to explain in your writer. Active versus passive voice. Yes, active, you should be very much clear about the grammatical terms, and you should be knowing all that. Adjective, adverbs, collocations, you can use these all different things, variations, you can bring the variations in your write-up. Then comparison, approximation, the contrastive devices are going to be there, prepositions, vocabulary, modal verbs are going to be there when you're going to give examples, agree, disagree, and if something is, you're going to explain something is going to happen in future, you have to use that. Previously it was done like this. When you're comparing something in future, we are looking forward, you have to keep the flow of the information in the comparative way. You have be very well rehearsed for the comparative devices, incursion in your writer. Then for the task two, you should be, focus on the impersonal construction, and passive voice, noun phrases, linking devices, participle clauses. You have to look into that, because this is an essay type. The main focus of your writer is going to be on the lexical choices and the grammatical usage. The accuracy of these all are going to be counted. You should be aware and bring your creativity in this. Then reinforcement of all this today's workshop, with the concluding remarks. And I would appreciate if you have questions, you can type it side by side. I'm going to answer those. Okay, the concluding remarks are the time management. two tasks in both academic and the general training. Task 1, 20 minutes, task 2, 40 minutes, altogether 60 minutes a paper. Practice requirement before going for the examination. You should be prepared well, with your vocabulary. You should use your grammar correctly. You should be a very creative. You should go with a creative mind to tackle those questions. Understanding, planning, and distribution of ideas per questions into paragraphs. The main focus, only two questions. You should be very, very, very well planned. You have to go in the examination hall with the pre-planned strategy, 4 paragraphs. First, introduction. Second, describe the summary of the visual. The second is visual or any information about the topic. Then second is going to be about the first main body. The third is going to be about the opinions, suggestions, and if there's a comparison or agree or disagree, you're going to be in the third paragraph. And the fourth conclusion paragraph is going to be of the conclusion. Usage of vocabulary. You're going to focus on your vocabulary, the spellings, choices of the words. Stick to the point, stick to the question, what they are asking. Usage of tenses, maintain that usage of tenses, or the flow of communication with the comparison, the present, future, past, but you should be knowing you are using them correctly and making your write-up interesting. I say good luck for your writing exam, and looking forward to you all for the coming Friday, our last IELTS webinar session on speaking. I hope so. You must have learned a lot, and if you have more questions, you're most welcome. I'm here to answer those. You can write them over here on your question and answers. I hope so. You must have got very beneficial, strategies and the skills from this workshop. And if you have some issues regarding the grammatical uses, vocabulary, this is an ongoing workshop. Actually, one needs to practice and get oneself enrolled on the regular basis to improve these all, your grammatical point for understanding the correct usage, the accuracy of your sentences. For that, one has to get into those classes. If you have more queries, the email address is there. You can contact me on the private tutor email address, and I will always be, available to reply back. So I think so there are no questions. I wish you best of luck and looking forward in the coming sessions. Have a blessed Friday and have a blessed Ramazan also. Thank you. Bye-bye.